In a world wrought with struggle and strife, a world rich with beauty and grandeur, a world where peril lies around every corner, a world of casting and honing. One group steps up to share the perspective of the masses in this, the world of Warcraft. We are Pwnecast, the voice of the players.
You have crossed into the world of the dead in search of answers.
Welcome back. You are listening and/or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 56, and we are in patch 6.1.2. I am your Warlock host, Belle. I did bring the Riders of Rohan with me. I guess every week somebody's gonna be in a costume, and I guess this week is like its week with the big lips. I did bring the mage who polymorphed his old internet company so that he could upgrade Frieza.
Yes, I did. I've been lagging for the last year and a half, and I believe we had an episode about why I have the horrible internet. I don't want to re-explain it, but I got tired of it. So I went and got Xfinity, and this is hardcore internet for the hardcore people. And so I don't know who else out there has Xfinity, but if you do, right on. It's Comcast.
And we're not getting sponsored by them, so this is just our own opinions.
Life's just really happy about having an awesome bag.
And I turned it on Saturday, and I was like having a meltdown because my Wi-Fi worked.
What's that Pocahontas, A Whole New World song?
Yeah.
No, it's not Pocahontas. What is that? What Disney movie is that?
Aladdin.
It is Aladdin. I
Aladdin.
love Disney movie.
Not that I watch Disney movies.
I have the Colors of the Wind song stuck in my head.
I would look good in a vest that small. I'm not going to lie.
On that note, we're glad that you are with us because we did miss you last week. You were here, and then you were gone because of the blizzard, which is funny because you are a frost mage, so we did find that quite comical.
I was. I was not lost. My horrible internet couldn't handle it.
We're glad that you're here. We did also bring the hunter who uses guild RPGs to hone his Hearthstone skills, Lycan.
It's such a shame that it's funny is every time we start an RPG, I'm on offense, right, Sarth? Right, Sarth, I'm on offense, right? He goes, shut up and just sit there. So I have recently bought a phone, and I sit there and play Hearthstone on it, and that's pretty much what I do when I'm sitting there RPGing.
Now,
it's actually kind of fun, though.
Let's be clear, there has been a few moments where he gets tired of being on defense and he goes rogue, and I'm going to explain to you a situation on when he went rogue. So RPG leader Zarf says, I need you and Belle to stay defense. Great. I'm great on defense. Nobody's going to kill my flag carrier. It's all good. So we crash mid like we're supposed to, then we get a call out to go protect the flag carrier. I go back into the room, and I got 6 of the other team members of the opposing team, and I'm fighting for my life, literally breathing heavy in the whole 9. And I look on my map, and I'm like, Lycan, where are you? Oh, I'm over here on offense. What do you mean you're over here on offense? I'm killing their EFC. Oh, you are. Do you think you could possibly get your ass back to the room and help me? Oh, yeah, I'll be right there. And then, of course, I died. But, yes, he does go rogue, and, yes, that happens.
So, in my defense, I never crossed that river. I got up to the river. I stayed on this side. Even when I was shooting, he was being gripped back and pushed back. I was still on this side of the river. So I never did make that full passing.
I aged like nobody.
I got a funny story. I got a funny story about a hunter and a rogue. Real quick. I'll be quick.
Because I got to intro.
I know. So anyways, this story is really funny because what happened was we actually have a gladiator rogue. And for 5 games, this guy is killing everybody. Guy's a master. He's amazing. Anyways, so we're playing Eye of the Storm, and he's going to the other base at the Fell Reaver, and he's sitting there, and he can't get it. It's been about 5 minutes, and he can't do nothing. Out of nowhere, this guy comes running across the map, and you hear him on your chat. He's all, call me out, coach. I need to leave. Get the hunter. I'm taking over the hunter spot. Hunter, get out of here. He's like, I'll camp base. And I go, why are you not over there trying to get the base? He goes, that other guy over there is a monster. So he's all, Hunter, go. I'll stay. And I pictured it as him, like, catching his breath, like, man, it was a war over there.
Pretty much what happened. And then Zarth is like, hey, Belle, what happened? I'm sorry. I'm the only one in the room. What do you mean, what happened? Me and 2 healers. That's great. The healers could only heal me so much going against 6 of the opponents. I was literally like, don't ever leave your wingman again. Like, that was not cool, ever. So, yeah, that's what happens when you make him camp for too many RBGs in a row. He goes rogue on his own because he's tired of sitting there. But I did also bring the shaman who reported his totems stolen. Huge bloke. That's all we get. Last week we got Gandalf. This week this is.
Yeah, no, see that. I have to apologize again because of the beard incident and the shocking noise. That's why I thought this time I'd just
wave. Okay, that's good.
Just quietly, talking quietly. I don't want to ruin anyone's eardrums.
So this week has been quite an eventful week in World of Warcraft. Not even a lot of new stuff, just
Well,
I mean, everybody already knows what this whole topic, this episode is going to be about, which is obviously Blizzard banned over 100,000 accounts for botting. Now, just so that those of you know who are not aware of the facts, CM Lore did post a post about it stating that their bot detection system, they banned over 100,000 accounts. If you feel like you were improperly banned, you can put in a ban appeal, handle your situation that way. Now, the shitstorm that ensued from this is the Facebook groups and pages then began, and the forums just exploded with pissed off people that were banned for botting. I don't know. Why would you be banned for botting? Because it's against the terms of service. Okay. So in light of this ban situation, half of raid teams, literally whole raid teams, are destroyed. RBG teams are destroyed. Guilds were decimated by this. Now,
I blame Obama.
if you have a friend who just disappeared and you haven't seen them, it's because they were botting. Now, when we're going to get into this conversation, because we all have quite a bit to say about some of the parts and things that had occurred since this ban, let's break it down and explain. Bashok had went on the community because people were like, hey, I use LVUI. Am I going to be banned? Now you're just asking stupid fucking questions, but whatever. He went on there and basically expanded on his definition of what botting is. It's not just necessarily botting. If you're running a script that is automating your character spells or is automating your character being handled, that is considered a bot.
One button macros and
correct
and things like that.
Anything that is automating your character's movement and or spell casting, that is considered not a bot necessarily, but a program that is automating your gameplay such as that. With that, Honor Buddy has shut down. Honor Buddy said, we're out the race. We realize we've made a shit ton of money off all you retards who went ahead and used our program over the years. We are now going to get out while the getting's good because we got money, so we're going to dip out. Okay, that's fine because Blizzard shut down their bot detection system. So when we're going to get into this, we're also going to talk about the White House petition that the band people were going to go to Obama and they were going to try to get ice. So
give them points for trying.
Now that we have the definition of that, before we start our discussion, I want to remind the listeners and viewers at home, if you recall 2 months ago, we spoke about this because it was a forum topic. CM Lore had went on the record and said, you guys are bitching because we're not taking care of the botters. You have no idea what we're doing. We're not going to tell you what we're doing as far as the botters are concerned because then it wouldn't do us any good because it would tip these people off that are using these programs. So I think it's all of our assumption and even a lot of people in the community that when that post happened 2 months ago, I'm pretty sure there's been bot detection put in since then, and I think they've spent the last 2 months analyzing that because some people had stated in groups, I haven't used that for a month. Well, that just means they were logging your gameplay and you've gotten busted. So now we can move on to the discussion. I wanted to make sure you guys had, the listeners and viewers had the facts before we moved on to our individual feelings. So let's talk about it all. The people bitching about it, the people doing it, the people that are just like, ha ha, and the people are like, oh, like, let's talk. Everybody at once.
Who starts?
Whoever
Who's gonna start
has
this one?
I'm going to be a true gentleman and say play someone else because No.
Okay, I guess I'll start if you want me to start. I'll start. Well, to me, I know on a couple episodes I've already expressed my feelings on this, but for people who didn't see that episode, I think it's a complete joke that people have been able to bot their way through this game and have bots able to do what they want for farming and raids and for whatever. That's an absolute waste of time and your time, and I can't express too much of why do you even play this game if you're botting? Why even what else do you not have to do with your life that I can't get in there. I'm gonna start insulting people. So here's the thing. Here's the thing is I come from games where cheating was accepted at certain times in games, like when Halo 2 they cheating would come out at the end of the game and they wouldn't do nothing about it because they were making the other game. So they would just give up, and the Halo 3 came out and you could super jump everywhere. And they never did anything about it for like a year, and it became part of the game. You just started super jumping every level. You just started doing it. It was actually strategy. They actually had strategy that, hey, you're gonna super jump here, I'm gonna go here, and it became part of it. No one ever did anything. And we play a game that you pay $15 a month, and I expect that we have people working on this all the time, and that is why I pay $15 a month. Mm-hmm. That is why I like this game over all the other games, because they pay attention here. They will, if they want something illegal and they want it banned, they will get it done. If they are willing to ban 100,000 people, that is amazing, because it's bad enough that they're losing people in this game already, and they're willing to still lose people because of bots. That shows you that these people actually care, and they're tired of people taking advantage of the system, because they are very lenient. Add-ons, this is the only game that has ever done add-ons
where it allows it like openly.
Openly allows add-ons, and they support it. They bought all those websites for them to being allowed to do all that stuff, and it's amazing how that was even allowed.
Agreed.
And they did. And then, but what do humans do the most? It's never enough. It's never enough. There's always something else you can do, and they eventually put their foot down. And I hope they keep putting it down, and I hope they go pretty far with this. I hope they take it to the limit. I really do.
Just so you guys have some math, and you brought up a good point, Friza. They just lost 2.whatever million subscribers. So in this move alone, in an effort to keep it fair for everybody, really is what it boils down to. In an effort to keep it fair for everybody, they are losing, by my calculations, I'm pretty sure it's 14 million, correct?
400,000?
Yeah, about
14 million a month, correct? Is that accurate?
Yeah, that might be not for 100,000.
But they're losing about at least 1.4. I think it's 1.4 million.
Maybe it is. Maybe my calculations are off. So now they already are losing money, but they're making money at the same time. I mean, with Hearthstone and all these other things where you can purchase card packs. I mean, they're really smart about that. But here, and I think me and Lycan kind of share the same aspect as far as the differences in the botting, and there is no difference, but you have some bots for PvP. You had Honor Buddy that automated your leveling. That automates your farming. You can farm mats, and you can farm things for the auction house. I think the problem I have with that, and people were excusing this behavior by saying, well, I'm a busy person and I don't have, listen, I have 5 children. I have my own business. I have now 2 jobs. 3 of my children are teenagers. We have a podcast. We run a website. I run a guild. If I can manage to level my now 9 level 100s the proper way by getting my ass in there and doing what I hate most, I leveled the monk from 1 to 100. I was going to boost, but just decided to forge ahead. If I can do that and I can go make money in the auction house, I don't hurt for gold.
And that's funny.
What's
you
the
say
difference?
That too.
It's an RPG. People need to remember you're playing an RPG.
And that's the funniest thing, too, is because I'm a very fast leveler myself. I mean, I could sit there and pound out the levels. Being, with my current employment situation, being disabled, I have plenty of time.
Right.
But I can level a tune from 1 to 100 within 3 to 4 days.
Right.
I use an add-on I've been just actually testing over the last couple of weeks called WoW Pro. And I'm glad to support this add-on. It doesn't require money. There's no cheating involved. It streamlines your quest, streamlines everything, and boom, you're ready to go. You know, I know there are other guides out there that make you pay for it, which are against the terms of service. There are legitimate ways to get things done if you need to get it done fast.
And the WoW Pro, you were
ridiculous.
telling me about that. So what this does, and this is not for people who are interested in doing the content. If you're first time leveling and you want to experience all the content, then these kind of things, you know, the guides and all that wouldn't be what's best for you if you really want to experience it. But like most of us have many alts. After you've done this fucking shit 7 or 8 times on a tune, you don't want to go through the same situation again. You want to streamline it to get to your end game. So this WoW Pro, correct me if I'm wrong, what this does for you is this gives you the best quests you should take in order to maximize your experience input when you're leveling. Is that right?
Right, but it does not go.
There's no automating.
There's no cheating. Yeah, and there's no where, like I said, I know there's that one guide out there. You pay for it. You get the add-on for free, but you got to pay for the guide.
You got to pay for it. Which
we're entering a topic that I actually am going to bring up later on in the show about how the game should be played.
Right.
And that's the thing too. Going back into the botting incident, what drives me crazy is I watched actually 2 videos this week, and one of them was from Eye of the Storm. And what was the one that I left you on? Twin Peaks. Yes.
Twin Peaks.
And the other one was Twin Peaks. So during the Eye of the Storm one, there was 2 guys in there that were not, or actually there was one guy that was not botting, and his entire team, all 9 other people, were botting. And they were running between Mage Tower to Draenei Ruins, to Mage Tower, to Draenei Ruins, and they weren't stopping. And if you looked across the map, the entire 10 people on the other side was running between Fel Reaver and BET. And that's all they were doing. They get up there, they'd stack for a couple seconds and run back, and they were all botting. It was absolutely ridiculous. The Twin Peaks one, yeah, they all came out. They all stood in front of the Alliance area where the Berserker buff comes up. And the entire teams of both of them, except for 2 people, one on each side, stood on top of each other, never attacked each other, and waited for the Berserker buff. And they were sharing pixels. You know they were the only way they were doing. This guy said, he says, look, I said, my DK is very poorly geared, and I was the top DPS. That's how you know you're in with bots. It wasn't the fact that people were getting levels. I don't care. You know what? You want to make money on the auction house? That really didn't bother me for the farming aspect. When it interrupts my gameplay.
I stated this a couple episodes ago when I found that bot in the dungeon.
I have no
Now I know what Bloke's going to say. Let's be clear here, and for those of you listening or watching, because this is a topic that does offend people, so we are being very careful to make sure that if one of our viewers or listeners, if you guys are these people that were doing the botting, I just need you to understand. I personally don't have a problem with what you're doing. That's your situation. I have 2 problems, though. It violates the terms of service, and if I'm to be held accountable to follow the terms of service, so should you. You should not be the exception to the rule. And 2, what Lycan just said. You want to use it to farm, even though it's cheating and you're not acquiring these things on your own. You go and you boast and brag about how you're making all this money in the auction house and how fast you leveled and how you did all these things when in reality you didn't do shit. A program did it for you. You're not awesome. Get out of my face. But my issue and the reason it's a problem is exactly what Lycan said, and that's why I get offended by it. At the end of the day is because it affects my gameplay. My gameplay is being affected because of the choices you made. If you're one of the farmers, fine, handle it. Farm, I don't care. Don't affect my gameplay, period.
What did Bloke have to say?
Bloke's going to explode because he's...
Before he goes in, just like last week you were talking about the tanking issue.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
I'm trying to learn how to heal, and you're pulling the room, and you're not pulling it properly as a normal tank would, and how am I supposed to learn to heal if you're not tanking properly? But yes, that was... Go ahead, Bloke.
I'm not going to explode because, let's face it, like, my swear jar is already well full for today. Like, I'm one of those people that honestly is sitting back thinking if you got caught for botting, you know what? Suck it. Yeah. Like... I'm
violates
sorry,
terms of service. I mean, you guys would laugh at me if I got banned for doing something that violates the terms of service.
You know exactly what you're getting in for. Yeah. I knew nothing about Honor Buddy. Like I'd heard of it. I didn't actually know how it worked or anything like that. So I went to their website and read up on it, and had a look at their forums, which, might I add, was quite littered with people who were like, oh, we have to petition, I didn't see the one about the White House, but they were like, we have to petition Blizzard, and this is how you appeal your case and whatever else. It was absolutely pathetic. All over the front page of the Honor Buddy website, they tell you it's a breach of terms of service. There is a chance you get caught. If you're going to do it, don't use your main account that you raid with and you have all your achievements and whatever else, because if you get caught, you can't play anymore. people get caught. Poor me, my account got stopped and I can't play and my life's over. You know what? You did it yourself, and you deserve it. If I have to, and I'm exactly with you, Bill. Like, same deal. Work, family, life, whatever else. I've got a bunch of level 100s. I got a bunch of money.
Still managed to do it just fine. I just had to wait for bedtime. That's it. Once my kids are CC'd, exactly. I'm on the computer. Done. Problem solved.
I've leveled all my toons myself. I've earned all my gold. I've earned what measly conquest points I have. You know, I've done the hard yards.
The PvP aspect of it when you're farming battlegrounds because you're trying to get your conquest and you're trying to get your honor. Can I tell you that the times that we have all as PvPers have had to re-gear and do all these things that as part of a natural thing of life. I'm in the middle of gearing I have a full geared warlock for PvP, but now I'm gearing the monk. Do I really want to sit there and go through what I just went through on the warlock? No, but this is a rite of passage as players. You grind to get to your end game so that you stand in the middle of Storm Shield with your freshly 660 geared alt that you worked really, really hard to make that happen. Yep. I'm not trying to insult the people for whatever your reasons are. You chose to do these things.
They're not gamers. They're not gamers. Obviously, it's
subbing?
Real clear.
What's the point of you doing these things? And I'm going to even talk about those people that use the one-button scripts to automate their entire rotation. Let me tell you about that. And this might offend people, and I don't want it to offend people, but don't come to me and brag about what you're doing when you click one button, because to me that's not what a gamer is about. My keyboard, I'm clicking every fucking button I have. My mouse is doing things. I'm sweating at the end of whatever situation I'm doing that's serious, because that is what it means to be a gamer, and that's part of the fun. But don't sit on your high horse about how awesome you are because you've automated your rotation, because I know people that have done it, and I know the people are listening to this, and this is not an insult to you. This is me telling you, you really need to think about what it means to be a gamer. You want to make yourself better, make yourself better. Don't make your one button macro better. Make yourself better.
Fathom under any circumstances, if you can give me a genuine reason that makes my head go, hey, you know what? That sounds fairly legitimate. I'll give you $1 million right now. Because to me, there is no way on the face of the planet that using bots
we end this topic,
can be justified.
Let me play devil's advocate, and let me tell you about a conversation I had last month with a friend. So when I was leveling the monk, it's really hard for me to have time to do things. Like, it's really difficult for me to find time to do things, but I needed to get this monk leveled and fully geared before next season, so it's easier for me to get the next step up conquest gear. So I'm having this discussion with a friend, which is how I found out about Honor Buddy, because this person had heard of it, and they were like, I don't use it, but I know that it can do this for you, and while you're working, you could have it just do quests for you. So I'm thinking to myself, no. However, the being able to do something while working, that part appealed to me in the sense of this would make my life easier while I'm trying to do something. I'm not defending it. I'm telling you what people's thought process is when they're using this. But at the end of the day, I sat there and I even said this to my friend, it's not worth losing my account over. I'm not going to lose my account over it. But the appeal and understanding why somebody would consider it, I'm human. I'm not perfect. I considered it heavily. And then I realized nothing is worth my account. Keep in mind, my account's not worth any money. But to me, it's priceless.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's not worth it.
I'm looking at my priest. I'm going, man, I really don't want level fishing.
No,
I wonder if there's any fishing add-ons out there that'll automate it for you. And I sat there and I legitimately thought about it last week.
But
and
you shouldn't have that thought.
But you're human. You're human.
But it's
you're
here. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that they've allowed it.
Right? Yeah, but I had the thought, and I said, you know what? I said, no, I could not imagine my account being banned like that.
But what I would kill myself. There would be no reason for me to live ever. So for those of you that have gotten caught up in this because you legitimately had good intentions, that's why I wanted to make sure we stated this. It's not you had your reasoning, and I understand us as humans, this is a lesson learned. For those in any of my friends that got caught up or any of my guildies that got caught up, this is a lesson learned. You learn there's nothing more important than you making sure you're not violating the terms of service. Yes, Frizo, you have a great point. Blizzard let it go on long enough. Years this has been going on. Blizzard should have put a stop to this fucking bullshit a long time ago. We could have worked all this out. But
this
I mean,
isn't the first ban they've ever gone through, though.
True. Normally it's a permanent ban, and some people also did complain about that. Well, why did they only get a sex awkward a 6 month ban?
What's on your end, lady?
Who's giving out sex?
Where do I sign up? Because is there a list?
Blizzard
Is there a
credit.
waiting
I say thank you to them for going ahead and doing it. Like, obviously, they've got a whole bunch of different motivations. At the same time, I think that this has been one of those things that they have been actively trying to
find a way to do it properly
for a long time.
And this isn't
but because the nature of bots, and like I remember back in the days when people were getting caught using glider or gliders or whatever it was, same sort of thing. Like the nature of the beast keeps changing, and it's kind of hard for Blizzard to keep on top of that when it's always changing. And they finally got ahead, and they swung that hammer, and now
they need to keep swinging it.
And I hope they do.
Because these players are going to ruin the game. It's always these are the loudest people.
When you find an exploit, somebody will always try to figure out a way to use it.
So let's switch gears so that we're not making the whole episode about this. For those of you that did get caught up in this, please understand that the opinions that we have, there are personal opinions. We're allowed to have them. We allow you to have your personal opinions, and we appreciate you allowing ours. So please don't send me hate mail because you don't appreciate our opinion. The good news is you don't have to. You can turn us off at any moment. There's a play button. There's a stop button. It's all good.
I'm a senator from Colony 3,
and
we don't like you.
You're not a senator. But just know
as long as your opinion agrees with mine, I'm happy.
We have different opinions. It doesn't mean I dislike you because I have a different opinion or you dislike me. This is the beautiful thing about being a gamer and being in the community is we're allowed to have our different opinions. This is not insulting anybody that got caught up in the ban. However, this is what happens when you break the rules. So don't bitch about it on Facebook because you broke the rules. If you are one of those unfortunate people that perhaps weren't doing something and maybe got caught unjustly, make sure that you put in a ban appeal and have it taken care of. If it's real and valid, Blizzard will fix it. They might not fix it tomorrow or the next day, but at some point Blizzard will fix it.
You got 6 months to get it fixed.
Switching gears. I wanted to make sure that we talked about this because this kind of struck a huge tugged on the heartstrings. World of Warcraft, our community actually saved a gamer's life.
This is why I got my glasses on.
And I want to make sure I want to pull up the story to make sure it was posted in Reddit because this person was getting a lot of stuff on Twitter. People were checking on him. So what had happened is she, I'm not really sure, they had posted a very cryptic post on Twitter. The person does suffer from depression and a whole long line of things that it's actually pretty typical for gamers in general that game at home and on a constant basis typically have the kind of depression issues that usually goes along with being antisocial, not really feeling like you belong, and a whole slew of, whatever issues you had growing up. So it's pretty common. So they posted a cryptic post on Twitter, and immediately Panzer from Trade Chat, she and some other Blizzard employees seen this, and the cops ended up breaking down this individual's door and basically saved this person's life because they were in the process of taking their own life. So the expression of gratitude that this person put on Reddit then caused the community to outpour and just said, you're never alone. When I posted it on Pwnecast, I had stated I had been seeing some things in the community a little bit negative. Some people were saying this was just a cry for attention and all of that, which here's the thing. Depression is real. It affects hundreds of millions of people all over the world. There are a lot of things that we might not believe in as humans. There's a lot of things I don't believe in. I don't believe in taking pills. There's a lot of things about certain things that are my personal views. But depression is real. It does affect a lot of people, and it affects everybody differently. So nobody is to say what's going through that person's head. Item number 2 is it was stated that that person was crying out for attention. I just want to state for the record that we are all like that. Everybody wants attention. Nobody goes through life and says, I don't want attention. Everybody's drive as humans is to be validated by another individual. That is who we are. That is what compels us to be social or antisocial. We literally draw ourselves on getting attention. Doesn't have to be negative or positive. It's just somebody affirming who we are. I'm acknowledging you, but I need your attention. Just because this individual, maybe they did feel like this was the thing for attention, whatever the case may be, we don't really know because we're not there. Whatever the case may be, we all need attention. We just go about it differently. We need attention, so we have a podcast. Just putting the honesty out there and on the table. We're in the community because we want attention, but it's really just because we want to be part of the community. But everybody wants that. So even if that was what it was, who fucking cares? Give the person attention. If you feel like you need attention so bad that you post on Twitter that you are going to kill yourself, I'm going to give you attention because I don't want your death on my hands. I'm going to do whatever it is you need me to do to avoid that. And I think that this whole community, whatever my personal issues are with Panzer, this female has my respect because she stood outside of herself to make sure somebody was safe. And she didn't have to. She could have scrolled right past on Twitter, and she made sure that this person was safe. So literally they stated World of Warcraft saved their life. How powerful is that, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm impressed because the way it read to me, like I read the response and this girl saying, thank you to everyone.
It was female, right? Female?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say her name, but the outpouring, like you said, that came with it, but the response from Panzer, from the people at Wowhead that backlogged her account information.
Yeah.
That then sent it over to Blizzard, who then obviously did their bit of data mining, and the fact that, and we all know I'm the same. I'm not particularly Panzer's greatest fan, but like she gets a huge high five full on because not only did she take all the steps and do what I would hope most people would do, but then took the time to ring this girl's mother and talk to her as well. So just that one step further again. I just found it odd that in a week where we've had 100,000 people get the 6-month sacking for being dingbats. Yeah. I was trying to pick a careful word there. At the same time, you got 100,000 people that are just like. This one hits personal to me because I've been there and I know what it's like. So to see the community rally behind this chick is that's pretty awesome.
And if you again, I don't believe in giving out the link because drawing attention to this is one thing, but Google's a thing. Just put it that way. The two most beautiful comments that I've got to say from this Reddit have to be the top two. Somebody made a response. Top comment says the light does not abandon its champions. And then somebody put a paladin actually put on, "Arise, my friend, feel the strength of the light run for you, for you're not alone and will never be alone." And it's little quips like that shows you the true heart of what this community really is.
But the fact that it's written in such a nerdtastic way as well,
Agreed.
so you sort of like you sit back and you have a little bit of a chuckle at it. And you go, "Oh, you fucking."
Well, that's what we.
But at the same time, you're like.
And I think what this proves is a lot of people, when you're dealing with people in the community and you're posting on Facebook and you're posting in trade chat and you're saying these things, there are humans behind the keyboard. There are humans behind the monitors. I'm not saying you got to love everybody. There's assholes every day, inside WoW and outside WoW. I literally come across 20 asshats in a 24-hour period just in World of Warcraft. But behind every monitor is a human being. So this is why.
Now especially
except the bots. But I mean, this is just a testament to what you say matters to people. So the next time you're insulting somebody so bad that didn't deserve it, or you're telling somebody that their mother should have had an abortion, and all this other shit I see, just remember her. Like, you're not the fucking boss of World of Warcraft. And one day karma's going to come knocking at your door, and it just might be a check your ass can't cash. That's all I'm going to say.
I didn't want to add to this conversation, but this is one thing I will say about that comment that you just made. When I was 10 to 14, I was mean all the time to everybody online, and I used to call everybody pieces of trash.
That's surprising. I never know that.
And I actually did that for a long. I did that for a long time, but now that I'm an adult, I look back at that now, and I just laugh at myself, like, wow, what What a freaking idiot. So if you're young right now and you talk like that to everybody, know that when you're almost 30, you're going to look back at yourself and realize what a stupid douchebag you are.
But there are sometimes it's warranted. I'm not telling you to never speak your piece, because sometimes you do really.
I'm talking to the 10-year-olds who don't know how to react.
Piece, but pick the words that you use to do it, because there's a difference between getting your opinion across. And if I had $1 for every time I saw in like trade chat or in a guild group, like, oh, you should just fucking go and end your life, like, I'm
going to go ahead and switch because we do have a few segments we need to cover. We did get a little bit heavy and deep, but sometimes you have to. I think sometimes this game inspires you to be better, and I think every now and then we're shown the light of the reason why we're gamers and why we're a part of this community, and I'm pretty honored. So.
Those thank you posts are proof that there is still good in the community,
Agreed.
And I think we need to support that as
Agreed.
much as we can.
Agreed. Golf clap, golf clap.
Golf clap.
So we were going to announce that the second batch of tickets for the BlizzCon dinner was on sale, but since the show notes this morning, they sold out. And that's the dinner event that us and Rathamus and Kitra Pardoon will be hosting pre-BlizzCon. It did sell out. And I know earlier there was like one ticket left, but I'm pretty sure that was taken. The next batch
somewhere on the screen, there's going to be a picture of the South Park guy saying, "And they're gone."
The final batch.
I like that.
The final batch is set to go on sale June 17th. We'll make sure that we post it. So if you want to come hang out with us, the dinner's $60. You get dinner, you get a DJ. The prizes are epic. I do know the prizes, and I've not been authorized to speak on those prizes yet. I know that Rathamus did post something in the World of Warcraft group earlier alluding to some of them, but the biggest ones have not been announced yet. So that being said, you're going to walk away with
the minor prizes that have been announced in that group.
So you get to party, you get to hang out with us.
And buy a ticket to be legit.
Of course, you don't have to pay to hang out with us. We're going to be hanging out with everybody at BlizzCon that wants to hang out, but you do have to pay for the dinner, and we will be there to entertain you. So June 17th is when the next batch goes on. If I know quite a few of our listeners have already gotten tickets, because I did get emails this week on people that I got emails today on people that got tickets. So I'm excited. Last item on the news agenda, and then we're going to get right into our segment so that we can do the week in WoW. May 11th, we celebrated Leroy Jenkins' 10-year anniversary.
Woo.
Who hasn't watched it? Who hasn't seen it? It's all great.
Go ahead.
Wonderful. It was a real thing. This guy was AFK the whole time the raid leader was saying what they were going to do. He comes back, charges in, funds to be had, all that. It's 10 years of an icon that's been built from a derp moment, which you got to respect that, really.
And it was one of the greatest moments that still to this day and makes me laugh every time I watch it.
True.
There's a guy in my work named Robert, really good friend of mine, and he doesn't know, he's not a gamer at all, doesn't care. And I walk up to him one day and we're talking about games, and I was like, I play World of Warcraft. And out of nowhere, he's all, Leroy Jenkins! And it blew my mind.
Son does it. My 7-year-old son does it.
That's awesome.
It blew my mind. I go, where'd you hear that from? He's all, I don't know anything about video games, but that's the only video I've seen on World of Warcraft.
That's awesome.
And I found that very cool. That video will make it everywhere. It's that big of a hit. I love it.
Awesome. So that's pretty much it for the news for this week. There's some stuff that I'm going to go over right now on Bell's Bites that I went and checked out on the PTR. But as far as news goes, there's still no word on the PTR. It's still on the 6.2 on when that's going to drop, but that pretty much takes care of the news for this week. So for Bell's Bites, I'm just going to cover a few things, and then I'm going to move it on into Lycan and Friza have some good stuff to talk about tonight. So with the Apexis gear moving to higher tier for item level, in 6.2, what they have done is the vendor's going to be selling the previous eye levels for gold. So for eye level 630, it's going to be 1K gold. For eye level 645, it's going to be 5K gold. For 655, it's 10K gold. And then 675, it's 20K gold per piece. This is the Apexis vendor that's in Storm Shield. I'm not really sure where it's at for Horde side because I don't play Horde. Now, a lot of people are like, well, what's the point? I don't understand what the point is. If you have several alts that you're trying to gear, but you don't necessarily want to run them through raids, but you need them geared pretty quickly, perhaps you're going to use them as a backup for, or one of your raids or whatever the case may be. It's a really good way for you to avoid LFR and not have to do all that to go through if you have the gold.
Which is always a bonus.
Agreed. And even if there's just a piece or two that you've been trying to complete and you're just not having any luck, this is a good way for you to be able to do that. And I think it's great that Blizzard did that for gaming. And then, of course, you have the next item level sets that will be purchased with Apexis crystals in the next when 6.2 launches. So I did finally, they fixed the bug with the Shipyard where it was booting me out every time I tried to zone into the Shipyard, and I got to check that out, including Tanaan Jungle. I know I told everybody that I wasn't going to go through this content because I wanted to experience it firsthand, but boy, am I glad that I did. I posted an article with the screenshots, and I had stated in this article, if you guys are weary and you're frustrated with parts of PB or you're frustrated with content or this expansion just wasn't what it worked out to be, the Shipyard is gorgeous. I mean, you have your own lighthouse that you can go up into. It's got its, I mean, who doesn't want to have their own lighthouse? You have your own freaking boat. You have just a giant ship with your dock workers. There's a drunken dock worker on your docks laying there with empty wine bottles.
Me and that guy are going to be good friends.
They really did a good job of adding on. Now, because it's not at your garrison, if you remember at the top of Shadow Moon Valley when you went in your parts of your beginning quest line, there was that beach area where you had to go fight this big ugly dude on this little thing, and then you had a boat, and then you had to go in the water and kill stuff. What are they? The little things that eat people? I can't think of the name. They're called twisted
nethers,
nightcrawlers or something like that.
Those things.
I don't know what they're
crabs?
called. No, they're little goblin-looking things that eat your soul. I don't know what they're called. It's been a long day for me, so it's just code for I have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's where your Shipyard gets built. You have a different exit. So when you're in your garrison, you have a second set of stairs that goes down from your town hall. I'm not sure how it's set up for Horde side. This is Alliance, of course. And you run down this little pathway, and then there's your ship. You get your different types of transport ships so that you can send them out on missions. Then you start acquiring the oil.
Never enough oil.
What's really, really cool, and I'm not going to tell you any. I'm not going to give you any spoilers as to who you see, but some familiar people show up in your Shipyard to hang out, which is kind of cool. I'm not going to give anything away like that for those that are interested. So then I'm going through Tanaan Jungle. Now we had talked a few episodes about Tanaan Jungle being the new Timeless Isle for max levels for Draenor.
Better not be.
It's pretty awesome. It's not. It is in the sense of what it's built for, but it's not. I really died a lot. Probably about 6 or 7 times on the road to glory.
Me too.
Yeah, I died a lot. That was with my Voidwalker. My Voidwalker got eaten in like 2 hits, and then I'm just laying on the ground like, what just happened? You do have another icon that goes with you to help you throughout probably the first 10 or 12 quests or so through Tanaan. But
unnamed person is pretty awesome.
Yeah, your helper's pretty legit. But that's cool for non-mythic raiders, I guess, because I mean I think my eye level's 678 or something, and I struggled. So I'm excited for that struggle because if you recall with Timeless Isle, when you went there at 90, that shit wasn't a face pull. You had to have buddies. If you didn't have buddies, your ass was dead every 5 seconds.
Which made it fun when you got a buddy. You were like, ah!
And you had to work together of sorts to make that happen, and that's pretty much what they brought with Tanaan Jungle, and you get to kind of see further events unfold, which leads you further into the content. I didn't pay attention to any quests in the sense of I didn't read the quests. I just let it direct me to where I needed to go to do stuff because I kind of wanted to immerse myself in that. And the good news is with PTR, most of their cinematics don't work. So I'm not getting anything, I'm not missing anything by doing that.
Just quickly, just backtracking just a smidgen, the Shipyard, it's not a spoiler in any way, shape or form, but if you used to play Warcraft 2, you'd be like really nostalgic while hanging out in your Shipyard because that was me and Bill convinced me to jump on the PTR and have a look, and I did, and I was like, fanboy. Like mad flashbacks. If you played Warcraft 2, you're going to enjoy it.
They really outdid themselves, and that's why I wanted to say to those that are struggling because it's getting boring, whatever the case may be. Just make sure you check it out. Yeah, they're doing it slowly. It's always at their own pace. Blizzard's famous for it's their time, not ours, but they really did an outstanding job. I'm pretty excited for the content. I was supposed to test today the Time Walker Time Walker and some of the bonus features that they've added to the calendar, which, just so you guys know, it's pretty much once a week. Once a week, there's a set, and they're all on the same day. So you'll have the Time Walker, the PvP, the Ashran, the Battleground. They have a bunch of different random bonuses that yield double and triple of what your normal thing would be. And it's once or twice a week, and the events will last anywhere from 24 to 32, 48 hours, whatever 2 days is. Excuse me. So I will be testing that this week. I tried to do it today, but every time I logged in, I guess PTR was down and I wasn't paying attention. So that's all I had for Bell's Bites. I just wanted you guys to know that I was kind of checking out stuff firsthand so that I could report to people and people could have a reason to make sure that they do tune in for 6.2. Did confirm that 6.2 will bring the new season, which we don't really need confirmation for that because everybody pretty much already knows that that's the way it is. Now, my confirmation comes from me logging into PTR and my Honor and Conquest being converted to gold. So nothing says new season like your current Honor and Conquest getting converted to gold as it does every season. So whenever that chooses to be for the PvPers. Couldn't find the PvP vendor to try to scope out the gear. Don't know if they stole him. Like both the vendors were not there in Shield.
I quit.
They were just like the little dwarf guy and the broad.
So what happened in Ashran? I'm going.
So I'll try to work that out this week. So I am going to hand it over to Lycan to give you some lore this week.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a huge lore. It's kind of a review of where Grommash Hellscream, where we've been at, what this one's all about compared to the last one, and why we're still kind of following him, and where we're actually heading into the Tanaan Jungle with him. As you all know, Grommash Hellscream is the war chief of the Iron Horde. He is the father of Garrosh, which is our lovable friend that we've hugged so many times in the last 6th season. And
he's like the great Bambino.
Exactly. With Garrosh, with Grommash though, in this Grommash compared to our prime timeline, which is the one we were used to having, there are some subtle changes that happens before he meets up with Gul'dan. In our prime line, we actually have Ner'zhul that is forcing Garrosh suggesting Garrosh drink the blood. He drinks it, causes the rest of the orcs to become slaves of Manaroth. We've talked about how the new one is actually Gul'dan pushing the blood this time, and why he actually took a step back from it. Garrosh goes back in time. Obviously, we know this. He meets up with his father, says, "Hey, Dad, don't drink the blood. It's not good for you. It's just going to cause nothing but problems." So he backs away from it, right? So he backs away from it. But with this chain of events, for obvious reasons, we get away from the whole, orc timeline to where they're at with us now. But he actually does some major changes as well with this. We see a little bit of back history being different. You have him that is in a Mokron, which is the fight to the death. And, you have his wife, who is standing there telling him, you really need to kill this, and he goes, no, he walked away, leaving actually, her to suffer, and it was actually completely different than what we would have saw our Grommash start. Our Grommash would have just went ahead and finished it and killed him off. And this is just one of the big differences we see. But as we're going into it now, with the legendary quest line that we have, with Kilrog now drinking the blood, it kind of says, where is Grommash going to be with all this? So last week we talked about Kilrog drinking the blood. And we talked about how he stepped forward when Grommash said, no, I can't do this. And Gul'dan obviously couldn't handle this. He needs to, from either a personal perspective or something that one of maybe the demons or somebody in the Burning Legion has told him, look, this needs to be done for X reason to happen. Something that we're not aware of yet. He backs away from it. But what we didn't get to hear from this cinematic, and what we saw with that, is what does that say for Grommash? Does that leave him in such a position as War Chief of the Iron Horde? We also look that he goes, we see him a couple times throughout our legendary travels. When we were over actually in Mok'Gal Watch Post, we see a council meeting between Hellscream, Blade Fury, and Blackhand. Oh. And, you have Grommash standing there looking at Blackhand, basically bitch slapping him, saying, you allowed the Alliance and the Horde to continue to do this. Why haven't you stopped them? And he also starts doing the same thing to Blade Fury's plans, asking him what the hell is going on. You know, that's the last time we really saw him, except for the cinematic, but that's the last time we saw him in game.
Are you talking about Grommash?
Grommash, yeah.
Well, he's final boss, so I mean...
Right, but what does that put for the Iron Horde, though?
Well,
Because
when he's killed as far as the current timeline, or
that.
going back to the old timeline?
Not even that. Gul'dan steps forward and says, look, you know, I offered you everything. You didn't take it. You promised nothing but glory and honor for the Iron Horde, and all we have is the death of your son. He throws him the sword. You know, he throws him Gorehow and says, look, this is what you offered us. This is what you brought to us. So basically, from what I see him, is that he is not going to be as much as the leader of the Iron Horde, moving in this, you know, whether he is in Tanaan or not. We do see Gul'dan actually taking that step forward, saying, look, if you're not going to lead us to glory, I'm going to do it.
So are you thinking that even though he's the final boss, that he'll somehow like resurrect, or that they'll revert to the old timeline and not the current timeline? I mean, what could happen with him being the final boss? I'm not.
And that's what I'm looking into this, and I'm looking into this more of the, you know, I keep looking at Gul'dan and what his plans are. You know, where we fit Rathian into this, you know,
right.
What his plans are. You know, okay, that's great that we're going to face the war chief of the Iron Horde, but does that actually end the Iron Horde?
Frieza doesn't even believe that Grommash is the final boss. He's like, you believe them? He totally doesn't buy that they're...
Yeah,
but, I mean,
you can't kill him. You can't kill him.
We couldn't kill
Grom?
Garrosh either, but we sure did.
No, you can't kill Grom. It's
Why?
not going to happen. Fans will not allow it.
They
that's
allowed
the thing,
Garrosh to get killed, though. The fans have nothing
Yeah,
to
it's
do
the
with it.
son.
Grom,
And the fans hated Garrosh. The fans
Grom-
hated him.
Grom died in our timeline, in the Prime timeline. Nobody had a problem with it at the end of
We
Warcraft.
didn't kill him. We didn't kill him.
No.
We didn't kill him.
But we
There you
walked
go.
him towards
There you go.
We walked him towards his death. In Warcraft 3, though, we walked him towards his death. We were all the way up there. We watched that final cinematic, which is very similar to the cinematic with the Warlords of Draenor.
Very similar.
Instead of having him standing there taking the brunt of the blast, you have Garrosh in this new timeline pushing him away. I mean, it's so... There's so much forecasting into that now that we're looking into this. But what if
this? He will not die by our hands.
I think a Warlock's just going to rule everything. So let's just call that right now.
Which is what I'm putting.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's how we can get him actually where we're not going to lose complete Warlords of Draenor moving into the next expansion as well.
Eye of Ashara.
In the Eye of Ashara, I'm still holding back on that. You know, like I said, you have Gul'dan approaching Grommash and basically mocking him for the Horde's losses and failures. You know, and he gives this blood. Kilrog takes it. He steps forward. Not Kilrog, but Gul'dan is now stepping forward. Because here you have you got to understand the close brothership between Kilrog and Grom. The kinship between those two are just... it was so deep in our timeline, and there's nothing to say it wasn't the same way here. But here's a man walking away from his brother, willing to look evil in its eye and drink that blood and take that plunge. He has aligned himself...
Literally in his one eye.
Yeah, but he's aligned himself now with Gul'dan.
Yeah.
What's not to say that the other members of the Iron Horde would not do the same? Grommash has not given them one thing he's promised them since we've walked through the
True.
through the
That's
dark
pretty true.
portal and standing up on a hill saying you'll pay for this. But he's not done anything. Now Gul'dan's sitting there with all this power, has Kilrog, his own brother, Grom's brother, walking away from him. And not blood brother, but his brother walking away from him going, I can't even be with you anymore. I'm going to go with this ugly green motherfucker standing over here in the corner. You know,
I like that. I picture the something dark side. You know, and Gul'dan is that.
Yeah, he is.
Lantana was Mountain Dew. That's all I got.
But so my this is where I'm going to look a little bit further into this. This is not. I mean, this is not canon from this point forward. We don't know where he's going. We know we're going to face him in Tanaan Jungle. We know we're going to face him as the final boss. Chilton leaked that out.
He didn't. He stated it very openly and said, "This is who your final boss is going to be."
I don't think he may have supposed to have said it, but he plain old simple says, "Yes, Grommash Hellscream will be your final boss." And
doesn't say you're going to kill him.
So let's leave this up to the viewers and listeners. You guys have been doing a great job the last couple weeks commenting on Lycan's lore and giving
Every
your
time
favorite
Lycan does
crafting.
lore, my head wants to explode.
So let's comment on where you guys see this going. Where does Grom fit into all this? Do you really believe he's the final boss? And if he is the final boss and we kill him, what plays out after that? Where does this take us? To those of you who believe Eye of Ashara is going to be the next expansion, where do you foresee this taking it?
And
so
that's how I think, if it is the next expansion, that's how I think Gul'dan is going to be able to get what he wants done, is by bringing, now he has the Iron Horde behind him.
Makes sense.
He's not coming through by himself.
Makes sense. That's awesome. Wow, that was epic.
His lore is too
I
much
know
for me to handle.
they demanded it to come back when he stopped doing it. They literally were like, "Can you please make it happen?" So, yeah, comment on the video if you're watching this. If you saw it on Facebook, comment and let us know what you guys think so that we can discuss it on the next episode. We do also need to move in because we are severely over time. We are going to move into Frieza has an article that he had read that he wants to talk about a little bit, and I'm going to leave it over to him.
Oh God, where do you start? So this person named Saxo, he came out with this ridiculous long article. I thought it was going to be a couple pages. No, it's like a freaking novel. So I read all of it, and I took the bits and parts of it that I want to talk about, because to me it's the most important part of the game. And it's not everything he talked about. He explained everything I've always wanted to say about the game, and he puts it into political terms for Blizzard to read and take it. And I hope that the community believes like he does. I think they would. So what I want to talk about is, the game is changing so much, and people always say, I like BC, I like Wrath of the Lynch King, I want Mott back, I want all these games back, and they've been changing this game this whole time, and every expansion it changes pretty drastically, but this is the first expansion that they changed the entire game. And I remember when Lycan first commented, he says, this is not World of Warcraft that we know. This is a brand new World of Warcraft. And what I mean by that is the game still an MMORPG? Is it still that? And I don't believe it is anymore. And so that's my opinion, and I'm going to stand by it because of what I'm about to explain to you. When you talk to veterans like me, people who've been in this game for a very long time, since the beginning of time, we fell in love with the game because it was an MMORPG, and we come from playing games like, Halo and Call of Duty and all those N64 games and a couple Xbox games, we come from that. So when we got a chance to play, Knights of the Republic, you know what I mean? The Star Wars game. You love the whole RPG MMO thing where you can walk around and do what you want, and you have to travel, and nothing comes easy to you. You have to work for everything. And gamers who like that, love that part of the game. And when World of Warcraft came out, it was the best. It was the best idea I could imagine for a video game for myself. There was no such thing as Quest Helper. There was no such thing as Group Finder. There was straight chat, general chat. And you better hope someone responds to you, and if they don't, you're going to have to go search the world and find it yourself. And you can go to Yahoo, and Yahoo may help you. There was no WowWinky. There was nothing. It was nothing.
When he says Winky, he means Wiki, not
You know
Wiki.
what I mean.
He does not
You know what I mean.
to Wiki.
So anyways, the guy's article was about Group Finder. Did Group Finder ruin the game? And a lot of people, including me, have fell for this in this expansion. And what he talks about is people do not play this game anymore like an MMORPG. They stay in their garrison the whole time, and they never explore the world anymore. They don't do world PvP, and world PvP was everything in BC and Wrath of the Lynch King and in Kata. The world PvP was so much. You'd have to go to Party Stone. What do they call them? I'm sorry. Summoning Stone.
Question.
And you would have to get your group together in a random place to get world PvP going, and then you'd have to get a lot of friends. If you found a Gladiator Rogue, he's not just a Gladiator Rogue. He is the Gladiator Rogue in your life. And now he's on your friends list. He's on everyone's friends list. You're going to play with him forever and ever and ever until you find another one, because it's so hard to find someone like that. And the friendships were so much stronger. It was so much stronger than it was today. Now if someone quits, guess what? You can pug another one in 5 minutes. what they did was they brought the game, they made it easier for people who don't like RPGs and MMOs. And the problem is, though, is that's what I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with having to explore, I remember the days where you had to go do BG, you had to go to the BG. You had to go over there. You couldn't just queue for it. There was no such thing. You had to walk into it, and then you would get queued. Those were the days, and it sounds stupid.
You had to wait out the front of the battleground for however long it was going to take for that queue to pop. So you could stand out the front for 45 minutes.
Yep, and it's crazy because
the people that were there.
And that's what it was, and that was the thing, though, was people like, well, why would you ever want to go back to the harder days? It's not that it was harder. That's the genre of the game that this was. It's not an instant queue matchmaking like Halo. You don't just get with 4 friends and you find 4 friends. In this one, you would have to go around and to find. Lycan remembers this in his raid groups. Wrath of the Lynch King. You remember those days where you're sitting there and Kata, you have to party chat, general chat, and you have to freaking find people to play with you.
I have a question because everything you're saying is very valid, but what about the people who didn't have friends like myself? I played by myself until Group Finder.
That's your choice. That is your choice.
It was because the community didn't welcome me.
No,
I played on a server where I tried to
There
make
was
friends.
always a community there. No. There was always a community.
5 years I played alone because nobody.
Jay,
I never got offered to be in a guild. That's what I'm saying. What you're saying is valid, but what about the people who didn't have that?
You're not the game. You got to get a game that matchmakes it for you. But this genre of a game is not
I need to go pay
meant
people to be my friend because nobody reached out to me when they see me leveling by myself in a questing area, or when I didn't even enter an instance
servers.
until.
I don't know what server
I did finally, which is why. But I'm asking, like, what about the people that struggle? I understand what you're saying about garrisons. You're valid about that.
You fell in love with this game. Am I right?
Well,
you fell in love with this
because
game
I had friends.
Because no, before that, you were still playing this game.
I did by myself every
day.
I did
Because you liked the genre you were playing.
You're valid for that. You're right. I enjoyed it.
They changed it. Now, what do? You stay in your garrison. You instant queue. You go to. You can get. I mean, I can't. The list goes on of how easy it is just to stay in your garrison. And
so
you
you're
never
talking
have
about
to
garrisons then, not so much.
No, not just it's in general.
Because garrisons make sense. They did take the social aspect out.
In general, you can stay in a capital city in Stormwind and do everything you want just from Stormwind. And the game was never meant to be played that way. It was never supposed to be that way. But they made it that way to make the people who wanted things instant now, the same people who like instant also get out of games really right away too, because they get tired of it.
They're not forever.
These are not the people who like this genre. These are not the people who liked Fable. Remember Fable, guys? Do you remember Fable? You had to walk everywhere and you couldn't just port anywhere you wanted to.
Okay.
Those were the games that I fell in love with.
I understand that, but here, let me actually play devil's advocate on here.
Go ahead.
Yes, that is great. I mean, the LFR is there for a reason. The Raid Finder is there for a reason. You want to do normal? You want to do heroic? You want to do mythic? You better get yourself a group.
That's true.
You better get yourself to the summoning stone, and you better get your asses there. So they have not taken away the whole social aspect of it. And I agree the social aspect, because I loathe the days, I'm sorry, that UP was the daily dungeon for heroics and Lich King. And sitting there in trade chat for hours begging people to run Utgard Pinnacle, but nobody wanted to do it.
Please play with me, be my friend, so I don't have to play alone anymore.
I mean, at the time I was rolling my DK, and I was selling my tank services.
But I agree.
And that was the only way I could get
I agree with the garrison statement, though. That's pretty valid. It did take the social out. I agree with that.
Lycan, you're right. But when you're now in your dungeon that you instant queued for, no one talks.
Agreed.
You guys get through it in 7-8 minutes, and then it's over.
I'm like that guy in the bathroom that'll stand there and look at you in your eyes whenever you're peeing at the urinal.
I do agree with that.
I'm the one that talks.
I'm the one that talks too.
I agree with that.
If I log into Battle.net right now and logged into WoW, I guarantee you, if I had 10 people on my friends list, which I don't, there's only 3, 9 of them would be in the garrisons. And
it's true.
And that I 100% agree.
I camp in my garrison all day long, so that's valid.
Yeah, when in
played a major part
in Kata,
killing the social side of it.
And that's what it was in Kata. When I had my PvP friends, they were all over the world. They were all over the world because they have to travel to do stuff. In Wrath of the Lynch King, in BC, you couldn't just stay in one place. If your friend was like, "Hey, I'm over here in this line. What are you doing over here?" Well, I have to do a dungeon. I have to go to the instance. And it was like I miss those days so much because it seems like this game is just becoming a matchmaking instant queue. just another
I
thing
agree
that
with some of that stuff. I mean, the queues, the only reason I have friends now is because of Group Finder. Not Group Finder, but Dungeon
Oh.
Finder. It's the only
Oh.
reason I ever...
Oh,
No,
see that? Guildies.
I'm not talking...
Guildies
Well,
don't
no,
mean shit around here.
but in the very beginning, not Group Finder, I'm talking about Dungeon Finder. Dungeon Finder was the only reason I was finally able to enter an instance, because when I tell you for 4.5 years, nobody talked to me, and I tried to talk in trade chat, and I would get called a noob, and nobody would help me. I didn't run my very first instance until Wrath of the Lich King. Because I didn't have friends. I didn't have a guild. I tried to get into a guild. Nobody wanted a level 10 noob warlock back then. This was in 2008. This was when it was serious to be in a guild. Like, you had to put in work to get in a guild. They didn't want you if you were under a certain level. So I do agree with all the things of Garrisons, and I do agree with the social aspect, but I disagree with the not having the Dungeon Finder, because it is the only reason why I have friends today is the Dungeon Finder. Group Finder, I agree with you, because then you're kind of using it to pug other people when you should be. I mean, I get that social aspect of it, but Dungeon Finder seriously is the only reason that I have friends.
We had this conversation on the page the other night, and there was so many people that took part in that discussion, and I was super
about the
impressed.
Garrisons.
I was just about like the whole social side and what we could do to improve the game, and I tried to respond to as many people as possible, but it was along those lines of agreeance that there are many aspects that have taken away from the social thing. And I did promise the guys that took part in that discussion, there is a YouTube video that sums up this argument. Like, just, it really points out perfectly the parts of the game that have taken away from the social aspect, but at the same time it points out the things that have well and truly added to it. And I am still looking for it, and I'm determined to find it. And as soon as I do, I'll throw it up on the page so everyone can see.
Did he come to a conclusion as to what he felt would make it different, or come with a meeting in the middle of how to make it even itself out, or kind of bring some of the old school back? What did he have any insight?
Eventually, what the game's going to turn into is just like any other console game. And I agree with him. I think eventually it will be a console game. I think it will be a thing where you just go to a menu and you do your stuff from the menu.
You think Blizzard would allow that?
Yeah. It's already happening. I think another 2-3 more years, eventually it'll just be a menu game. And you play the menu. You'll still be your character when in your menu you choose what you want to play. But there will be no longer walking around the world. And because to them, they're going to lose a lot of players. To them, it's cheaper to do that. And over the years, it seems like they want quick money. And they always say it comes down to money. It comes down to money. And they want it now. They want it now.
100,000 accounts. That doesn't say I want money, right?
That's only 100,000. That's only 100,000.
I'm sure there's more to come. I'm sure that was not there. They probably have to do that shit in waves because they'll go broke.
It's true, we said, but they want instant money is what it seems like right now. And the people they want to get right now are console gamers. And console gamers come and go. And they will come for about 3 months and then they leave. So that's 3 months of money and they're good. But they have to please the console gamer. They have to make him happy.
I'm hoping that they don't go in that direction. I'm hoping that Blizzard will see what they have and keep it as such. I know they've changed a lot, but I mean,
here's what scares me though is, in every game it seems like go back all the way from BC, in every game it seems like they're little by little making it a matchmaking thing, and why is it going to stop now? I mean, think about it.
This is what people want. And I'm sorry. We are moving into the generation of the instant gratificationers.
It's true.
And it, I see it through I see my 10-year-old daughter. It's the same thing with her. And it just happens to be that's just the mindset. When they run a dungeon, they're expected to get gear. Now we have find a boss. We'll drop you an item.
Yep.
I remember running dungeons and never getting shit.
I agree with that.
We're looking at instant
gratification. You would run it 20 times and not get one piece, and you'd be so pissed off, and you would be raging, but yet you would still do it because you needed to.
But how amazing was it when it did drop?
I remember being held off a raid.
Shit.
I was held off a raid team because I could not get a belt. And I can't remember the dungeon was, but the only belt that dropped was from this dungeon that would get me into the raid team. And I ran that damn thing, and I'm not kidding you, for 15 days straight before I finally got it to drop.
Agreed.
But if you tell one of these players now, especially the younger players, that I'm sorry, you're going to have to run a dungeon 15 times or LFR 15 times before you get a piece of gear, that's it. They're blowing up the forums. I can't believe this game is garbage. It's dead. It's not going anywhere. That's how it...
People that have farmed Ashes of Alar for 6 years, and how good do they feel 6 years after that content's been out that they finally got that mount? I agree with
Demetrius
you.
is a member in our guild. He's an older man, but he never complains. You ever hear him complain about not getting gear? He'll sit there and go, okay, we'll let him have it. Because it's that generation. It's moving from that.
I
It's great what you're saying. It's great what you're saying because think about it. I fell in love with the game without Quest Helper. I fell in love with the game without anything.
Just on its own.
And just on its own, and so did millions of players. Why do you feel the need to change it just for another million more? And they're just going to leave again. And the original people are still here.
Because the generation changes.
But the original people were still here. But what's going to suck the most is one day they're going to make this a non-MMORPG, and those old people who have been here, the 4 or 5 million people who were here from the beginning, are going to be gone.
The younger generation whose parents buy them games instead of giving them attention is changing, and I agree with that statement.
And they have to market it to that, or WoW will be dead. I'm telling you right now. People are saying this is killing WoW. No, this is saving WoW. This is why WoW is still here 10 years.
And that could be a positive way of looking at it.
True.
10 years.
But hopefully they'll keep a cap on what they're willing to change. My hope is that they're meeting in the middle and that they have a stopping point, because everything you're saying, Fries, is 100% valid.
This should be the stopping point. This should be the limit because it is still an MMORPG at this point right now. But this should be the limit. Like I told you guys before in a couple episodes, they should never do a garrison again. They should never do that again.
The day we go into mythic rating, being able to find through an LFG is whenever you.
Oh, that'll never happen, I don't think.
But that's where they're holding it back. They're holding back that harder end content.
They're giving you a little, but they're stopping it to where it doesn't cross that border. And
this is going to be instant queue, heroic, instant queue, mythic.
I hope that that's the case. I hope that they continue to cap it and say we know that if we pass this threshold that we've reached the point of no return.
We're a console game now.
Agreed.
We're not.
That gentleman's very insightful.
I wouldn't want their job in this of trying to keep that balance. The dude that does that decision is like bold and high blood pressure.
It's true. It's true. And I apologize.
PvP though. They've done BGs, RBGs, or 2 different ones. You know, rated, non-rated 2s or 3s. They've done that, and they're holding that content separate.
They are keeping it separate, and I do appreciate that. You can do the skirmish if you're, as Frieza would call us, scrubs, or you could do the rated, or maybe just use skirmish just to learn what you're doing. Like I'm a healer now, so now I'm going to go into some non-rated situations where I'm not pissing my person off that's carrying me because they're losing their rating because I'm dying. But I agree. I hope they keep that balance of separating the two and leaving it as that. Make these guys happy, but continue to make us players who have been playing since the very beginning happy and giving us what we like.
And what I would like to know from our fans on our Facebook page is, would you like it to go back to where you have to walk to the instance? Would you want to go back?
How far back? Or what would be your what would be your happy
What would be the limit? Because now that we've had all this, it's like taking away your Walmart in your nearest city. Now you have to go to private shops and spend more. You have to spend more money. Or
taking away your cell phone when you're used to doing everything on your phone.
Pretty much. And so, is it too late, or can we go back? And if we do go back, I believe the true fans, the true people who fell in love with this game, will stay because they've always stayed. And the people who just here for the instant gratification, they will leave.
They're the crybabies on the forums talking about their unsubbing because they're not happy about something. The banners, the people that got banned, I'm unsubbing. You already have to unsub, jackass. You got banned till November. Ooh, hurt me.
$50 a month for 6 months. That's up to you.
Right. We really had a very deep and meaningful episode. We kind of put our fuckery aside to have a real nice. See, gamers can be serious. We're not all terrible individuals. I don't know.
Not all of us.
Well,
and the guy talked about a lot more, guys, but that's just one topic he brought up, and I found that topic the most.
Dig that up and link it on the page.
Yeah, Frieza, you should post that on the page.
It's a long article, but you guys got to read the whole thing.
We are 15 minutes over, so we are going to get the hell out of here. We are not going to do the week in WoW because I'm not going to force you guys to sit here for a minute longer on the podcast because I know that it's already extremely long. The point is we're all here. We're all alive. Pretty much all of us had a really rough week this week, so that's the only thing you would hear from us in week in WoW. Anyway, it was probably the worst week of my life this week. But I'm alive, I'm here, I'm happy, and everything's good. They've all had rough weeks too. So we're going to get on out of here.
I brought new toys.
Thank you for watching. If you need to get a hold of us, you know where you can find us on Facebook, at Ponecast, or you can find us on Twitter. We're all on Twitter. You can also go to ponecastdailyquest.com and make sure you check out the articles. Our writers have really stepped themselves up in the last couple weeks. They're really kind of getting their footing and finding what's interesting for you guys to read. We're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. The show just took that awkward turn where I need to get the hell out of here because shit's creeping me out on the screen. Once again, ponecastdailyquest.com. Thank you for spending your hour with us every week. We appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like the video, hit the like button, comment, tweet us, Facebook us, call me. We're out of here. Bye.
If you guys are wondering what this is Baby Jabba the Hutt. Baby Jabba the Hutt. That's who it is. It's baby. Look at his big old eyes.
Was that the bobblehead you had last week?
No, I brought it from work.
This is why aliens don't visit us, because